Hello, everybody. My name is Matt Dorsey. I am your District 6 supervisor, and I am thrilled to be here to open this long-awaited extension of Mission Bay Park. It gives me great joy to be standing alongside Mayor Breed, my longtime friend and former boss, Dennis Herrera, everyone else who contributed to the creation of this park, which will serve the Mission Bay community for generations to come. You know, this is kind of important to me because 22 years ago, I worked at 185 Berry during the dot-com era when there was RV parking over there. I think that was the only building. There was a golf driving range and nothing. It was just a lot of industrial, unused land. 2 years before I was appointed to the Board of Supervisors, I worked at the Public Safety Building, so I was on the other side, but still in Mission Bay. To see this neighborhood come together, it is so exciting, and having open spaces like this is such a part of what 21st century urbanism is supposed to be. When I talk about District 6, it's really important that what we do here we get right, because I think San Francisco is going to look a lot more like District 6 in generations to come, and this is definitely getting it right. The opening of this park has been a long time coming. As of 7 o'clock this morning, the fencing began coming down, and nearby families, workers, and kids were welcomed inside. We want to welcome kids from the Dahlia School. How you doing, kids? Does anybody miss the fence? I don't see any hands. So now more than ever, housing has been at the forefront of San Francisco's priorities, and Mission Bay is one of the fastest growing neighborhoods for housing developments, especially for families and children who are here today. And that's why the opening of these public spaces in this neighborhood is so important. Our rich park system provides an avenue for people to come together and to celebrate the beauty of our city, and Mission Bay Park is no exception. We have an amazing view here. The Giants, where the Giants play, visible over here. We've got views of Sutro Tower, the Mission Creek, obviously. I know that myself and leaders standing beside me can't take credit alone. I want to make sure that all the hardworking individuals who are instrumental in bringing this park to life are thanked. So thank you to the engineers, architects, city planners, and most certainly the laborers who physically built this park. Your diligent work is appreciated, and we thank you today. I do want to say, I know that there's some folks, and I don't want to dwell on it, but I think there was, I can't avoid the elephant in the room. Well, there was a fence up here for a long time, and people wondered why, and it was some of the first questions that I got. I remember actually at one point saying, I think if you're going to finish the park and you're going to leave the fence up, I remember saying, could we get a backhoe here so it looks like you're doing something? But I will say this, and I'll say it to my friend, because Dennis Herrera was a longtime city attorney, and having worked in his office for 14 years, I will defend that there are, important I's to be dotted and important T's to be crossed, and some things had to happen to get this, this was a state entity handing it over to a city entity, and there's a little bit of bureaucracy that held things up. But I did meet with the mayor, and I said, Mayor, let's get this park opening on the calendar. And then my recommendation, Mayor, is that you say, we're going to come down here. Me and Supervisor Dorsey are going to come down here with bolt cutters or scissors. It's your decision which it's going to be. I will say it's going to be scissors. If I'm being honest, I think if we had taken down the fence with bolt cutters, it would have been better television. But anyway, I just want to say thanks to everybody. And with that, let me introduce the real hero of this who got this done, Mayor London Breed.
Well, Supervisor Dorsey is right. I just was prepared to come down and take the fence down in the middle of the night myself and hide it somewhere, who knows where. And, this is really a testament that even our parks are not immune from city bureaucracy. It has been very, very challenging, and I know really frustrating for this community, which we know consists of our seniors, our kids, our families. I remember when I served on the San Francisco Redevelopment Agency Commission when this neighborhood was starting to take shape and conversations around the decisions of what will happen to Mission Bay. And when you think about it, just 25 years ago, this was a underused rail yard. This was not an area you came to unless you were going to the golf driving range. That was very popular, by the way, I know that. But the fact is, look at what we were able to create as it relates to this neighborhood and providing not only open space, but also housing and childcare. We've opened up Crane Cove Park and other parks in the area. We're opening up a school in this neighborhood. Chase Center is here with the national NBA champions, the Golden State Warriors. You got the Giants right there. I mean, this is like real San Francisco at Mission Bay. And so the fact that we're here celebrating the opening of this park is just really icing on the cake. We know that there were some challenges, but I am so grateful to not only Supervisor Dorsey, who harassed me more for this park, I think, than almost anything else. And I appreciate the support of our PUC director, Dennis Herrera. I keep trying to remember, he's not the city attorney anymore, but he's running the Public Utilities Commission. And what I appreciate is the fact that we work together to try to come up with a solution to get this open for the community. And I know many of you are anxious. That's why you're all here to celebrate this milestone. This is what happens when we partner, when we work together, and we make great things happen. 1.7 acres of park space. And brand new, and all these, storm drain things around the environment that Dennis Herrera will explain. But ultimately, I want to give, just the credit to the community for coming together and wanting to see this happen. And I know that many of you had an opportunity to get to know your neighbors in the process because, again, Mission Bay is a real neighborhood. It's a great neighborhood. In fact, I love the Gus's Market that's in this neighborhood, too. It's like one of my favorite Gus's in San Francisco. And I just want to thank some of the departments who had a lot to do with this. Thank you to OCII and Thor, the director, is here with us, as well as Judson True in my office, who helps to expedite projects like this. And this was probably even more challenging than getting housing built in San Francisco. I want to thank the PUC and Dennis Herrera. I want to thank the Port of San Francisco and everyone from the Mission Bay community and all the work that they were able to do to get this done, and the developer who helped to build this park. And now we have the responsibility to work with Rec and Park, and Phil Ginsburg is here. We're going to take over. We're going to keep it nice. We're going to keep it green. And we're going to make sure the community loves on this park like nothing else. So thank you all so much for being here today.
Thank you, Mayor. And now it's my pleasure to introduce SFPUC General Manager and my friend and former boss, Dennis Herrera. Thanks so much, Dennis.
Thank you, Matt. And I'm just going to say any delay here was the fault of the city attorney's office. And since I'm not there anymore, go after them. But just to echo what the mayor and Matt talked about, the vibrancy at Mission Bay, I'm your neighbor. I've lived in Dogpatch since 1993, when Dogpatch wasn't even called Dogpatch. It was called Lower Potrero Hill. And I used to take my walk. When I don't go to the gym, I usually walk 5 or 6 miles a day. And I'd come right down this route, right down 3rd Street. And back in the old days, I used to keep my keys in between my fingers in case I had to get out and defend myself. Now, I know I'm not going to have to do that anymore now that we have this beautiful park here servicing this neighborhood. And I got Gus's at one end and New Belgium at the other. I can't imagine a safer place to be than in this park. And that is why I am so excited to be here now as the general manager of the PUC to share in this celebration, because we are so proud to be part of the open space that is at the heart of this park. That'll not only serve Mission Bay families, but also be environmentally sensitive as well, and ecologically help save this bay right out there. Because you see, we have rain gardens and a centralized stormwater treatment facility that is a big part of this facility. In fact, it's a center piece of it. And the rain gardens and the stormwater filtration system will filtrate water that's collected and naturally cleaned and treated before it's discharged into the bay. And more specifically, we have about stormwater that's going to treat about 9 acres of public right-of-way land that's right here in Mission Bay, and we have 6,500 square feet of bioretention and vegetated swales, which are open channels that'll collect the stormwater and allow it to filter into the ground. We have about 2,000 square feet of pervious concrete, which allows water to pass through during storm events. And ultimately, when combined with the pump station that's going to be built at the end, right, Sean? We're going to get that done, right, Seth? Absolutely. At 4th and Channel, we're going to be able to do 800,000 gallons of stormwater per day. That'll be discharged in a clean way after it's treated into the bay. And we all saw what happened with the algae bloom that happened this summer, right? And we all know that we have a responsibility to not just make sure that we're serving the residents, but that we're taking care of this bay. In an era of climate change, it's important that we at the PUC, it's a responsibility we take very seriously to be good stewards, not just of this neighborhood, but of this beautiful San Francisco Bay. So what we've constructed here in partnership with Seth, who you'll hear from in a minute, is going to ensure that we don't just take care of our neighborhood, we take care of the environment, and we provide habitat for wildlife that hopefully you will have the opportunity to see as you're walking through this tremendous park. So we are so happy at the PUC to have played a small role in bringing this park to fruition, and we look forward to the community enjoying it each and every day. So thanks so much. Have a great day.
That's great. Thank you, Dennis. And next, I want to introduce Seth Hamalian from Fossil. Good. Come on up. Thanks. Thanks so much.
Thank you, everyone. I'm Seth Hamalian. My company is the managing member of the master developer for the Mission Bay project, and I am here today to speak to two things. One, the parks at Mission Bay that don't often get the full recognition that they should. I mean, there are a lot of great things happening in this neighborhood, but I want us to all take a pause and recognize this is a neighborhood where a full sixth of the acreage was dedicated to parks and open space at the beginning of this project. That was a decision that was made right at the beginning. And what does that translate into? That translates into every single building here, every resident, every worker, every visitor to the hospital, everyone who comes to a game, they're within 1 to 2 blocks of a park. Can you imagine a city that has that, can say that? That's really special. And everything else at Mission Bay is worth celebrating. The density, the new arena, all of the mixed income. And this is a precedent setter for the city. But oftentimes lost in that discussion is the beauty of the parks and the fact that this neighborhood has that kind of access to open space. I think it's important for us to take time here today to simply thank the people who helped make this happen. So I want to actually start with the implementers, the people on the ground who are out here designing, engineering, and building this. We have landscape architect CMG, the civil engineer Frere and Loretta, our geotech Langen, our construction management team Townsend Management, and then our contractor, Hosley, who I want to give an extra special thanks, was out here early removing those fences so we could do this celebration today. And then on the implementation team, Mission Bay Development Group, who oversees and coordinates the construction of this project for the master developer. And Park Lab Open Space Management, who is the individual and team who will be taking on the management of this parks until it is handed off like a baton to the next relay runner in Brecken Park. I then want to thank the city family, okay? The city family, even though there's been allusions to the battling it out and what have you, the reality is that everyone who we work with at the PUC, at DPW, at the port, the extended city family, BCDC, even the Army Corps of Engineers, there's a lot of hands that touch a park like this. And there's a reason for that. It plays a really important role in protecting the bay, and it needs to last for the community. And so even though it's painful to go through the permitting process, even though you'll hear me on an off day complaining about this or that, and I need to pick up the phone and call Dennis, the reality is people care deeply, and that's what adds a little bit of time to the process, and hopefully the end product is worth it. I would be remiss not to thank specifically Supervisor Dorsey and the mayor's office and OCII for stepping in. They stepped in at a moment where we were at a bit of an impasse. Everyone was down in the weeds, struggling and arguing, and it was actually Thor at OCII who pulled me aside and said, you know what? There's an old Kenyan proverb that says, when the elephants fight, the grass gets trampled. And he's like, what I'm trying to tell you is, when you and the city duke it out, it's the community that suffers. And it recentered everyone in that discussion. And we got right on it thanks to the pressure from Supervisor Dorsey and the mayor's office to make sure that this opening happened today on time with all of you here today to celebrate it. I want to thank the community. It's a weird thing. You know, you've got your official bodies within the community. There's the CAC that helps us and design reviews with us and helps give input on these parks and open space. There are the local businesses. We've had 3 here that flank this park who've provided a set of eyes and some activation in the interim when we were getting to this finish line. So I want to give a special thanks to the New Belgium Brewing Company, Mission Bay Wine and Cheese, and Dahlia School, which is a Spanish immersion preschool. And I want to say that New Belgium Brewing Company has actually been kind enough to welcome everyone in after this for some refreshments. So if you can come in, please come join them. They're back behind me towards the corner there, and that's a very generous offer. But what I really want to call out and end with is a thank you to the community. I don't think people recognize what it means to be a community member in Mission Bay versus other parts of the city. This is a neighborhood that has been under construction for 24 years. Okay? Can you imagine what it would be like to come to work every day or to come home and in the background, ga-dung, 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 as pile drivers are going in the background? This is the most patient group of individuals that I've ever met. And we are blessed as a city to have them as the people who said, you know what? I know it's not done yet, but I'm going to come live here in Mission Bay. I'm going to come work here in Mission Bay because it's because of you that this project is feasible. And so I'm really glad today to be able to hand off one of the many parks to come, and we're looking forward to delivering a lot more. So thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you so much, Seth. And I just want to echo something Seth said about the importance of the community. You know, when I was appointed, I always tell people, I know what I was signing up for. No hard feelings if you're going to complain. And usually if I hand somebody my business card, I'll say, look, if you got any issues, things to complain about, get in touch with me. And if I don't hear from you, I'll assume you're good with everything. So actually hearing from everybody in Mission Bay, what's going on? When is this going to open? That actually helps empower the mayor and me and everybody to get this all together. So this is really all a credit to you. And next, I want to introduce Dora Polito, who is the Director of Learning and Development at Kai Ming, a nearby Head Start preschool. Dora, thanks so much.
Hi, good morning. On behalf of Kai Ming Head Start, we want to thank the mayor of San Francisco, Mayor Breed, Supervisor Matt Dorsey, and all of the city, everybody in the city who's been involved in creating these amazing spaces. We're really excited about our families having access to parks, readily accessible from their homes. Many of our children that we serve serve children 0 to 3 months to 5 years of age, and many of them live in this community. And they don't have yards directly outside of their homes, but these amazing parks in Mission Bay are their yards. This is where they will come and they will ride their bikes. They will explore and see nature. As we were walking here, the children were pointing out the flock of birds that were flying by. Children need open spaces to thrive. They need open spaces to develop a sensibility and appreciation for nature, and even more important, just physical well-being, to be able to have run long stretches. Our children don't have places to do that accessible in their homes. We know that playing outdoors is in safe, interesting open spaces support children's development and the overall well-being of families. Access to this new stretch is even more important for families to thrive. When children run, jump, climb, throw balls, ride toys that require balance, they not only build gross motor skills, they develop a healthy habit of being active along with their families. Playing outdoors is a great model for the joy of activity, physical activity. The natural landscape will invite children to learn about science through their exploration and observation. At school, we read books about birds and trees and animals, but at the parks, they'll actually be able to see, caterpillars crawling and butterflies fluttering, and different bird calls and birds flying over them. Children's experience outdoors can nurture a lifelong appreciation and value of the natural world. And at Kaiming, we believe that opening this new stretch of Mission Creek Park will enhance the quality of life of children, their families, and all of the residents of this beautiful water park community. Thank you.
Thank you, Dora, and thank everyone at the staff of Kaiming for helping support the growth and development of so many children in San Francisco. I hope you can all enjoy what this park has to offer. And now, the moment we have been waiting for. It will not be bolt cutters, it will be the scissors. Mayor Breed, here we go.
You ready to open the park? Yeah! I don't believe you. Are you ready to open the park? Yeah!